When you understand and remember why you've started, why you're choosing to go against the grain, why you're choosing to pursue entrepreneurship for that matter, where it's so different from what we grew up with, you're going to be able to center yourself. You're going to be able to remember, okay, this is why I had to start this, because I wanted to move myself away from previous versions of myself that I didn't like. Because I feel like at the end of the day, that's initially why a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs specifically, that's why they start, because they're looking for something better. Yeah, everybody talks about the money. We talk about, all the flash and all these things. And sure, hey, if that's you, nothing wrong with that. Hey, if I'm being honest, like I'm chasing that as well too. I want better,
Why
not
not?
just for me,
Why not?
but for
Yeah.
everybody around me, right? Family, my close friends, everybody, my inner circle.
Yeah.
But I would say that, Jay, is have a real conversation with yourself. Take a pause, cut out the noise, and just ask yourself, what's the why? Why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talks Podcast. In today's episode, I'm bringing my brother. This guy is an amazing gentleman. He's an amazing leader. He's genuine, he's authentic, and he keeps it real. And, him and I actually really connected even in a short amount of time because of his energy, his aura, his demeanor, his character. Like gravitated me towards this guy, Sean Nakamoto, also known as Mr. Sean Nakamoto. Welcome to Real Talks Podcast, bro. How you doing?
Bro, man. Hey, first of all, it's an honor to be on your platform, man.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
I'm just super stoked to be here to be able to contribute back to your community.
I love it.
And just vibe it out with you today, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I know you're a busy man. You do different things. Oh, you're all the way out in beautiful Hawaii, and I know you go back and forth and you travel to LA and everywhere. But I just really want to highlight what you do and how you help others, man. So you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about you and your business in particular.
Absolutely, man. So for starters, so what I essentially do to kind of just put it out there and to frame up this whole aspect. And again, honor to Jay for putting me out there,
Yeah.
my guy
Yeah.
right here. So I actually am part of an organization called the Warrior Movement. And I know you featured another one of our good friends and partners, James Zhang, a while back. I think it was
Yes.
on the pre-launch of your pod. I was
Yes.
like, dang, I missed out on that way. But I told Jay, and I've always kind of tapped in with him on this. I was like, yo, we're going to get on an episode for sure. And, definitely just to, again, create the magic that he already kind of instilled. But essentially, being a part of this organization called the Warrior Movement, we're partnered with a global wellness brand. And what we do is we help others in those aspects of bettering themselves in
Yeah.
health, in wealth, and, of course, finding themselves. This is from my perspective on what I
Yeah.
do. Primarily with my particular coaching set within the organization,
Yeah.
is I am gearing myself particularly towards millennials and helping them break away from a 9-to-5 mindset to go out there and honestly just, dude, grab the life that they've dreamt about for
Yes.
way too damn long, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
And this is something that I know even for myself, Jay. Like, it took me a long while to get
Yeah.
to a point to really adapt to this concept of like entrepreneurship. And
Right.
because it's safe to say a lot of us when we're born, we're not like, all right, out of the
Yeah.
womb, I'm gonna be a businessman,
Right.
like
Right.
it just wasn't in the cards. I actually wanted to be a teacher
Yeah.
growing up, which was actually my first I guess you can say major career for
Right.
myself.
Right.
But along the way, I just kind of got tired. And I know I'm kind of jumping into like
No.
segueing in,
No. We want to hear your like how you got started and all
for
that
sure.
stuff. So it's all part of the show. So yeah,
Hey,
feel
all
free.
right. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, just to kind of give a quick backstory for the people that are watching this. So for me, as Jay said, I'm currently based out here in Honolulu, yes. But I was originally born and raised in Los Angeles, California. And prior to getting into, my entrepreneurial ventures and everything, I was just your average college grad, graduated college with a bachelor's degree in communication sciences. And for those
Yeah.
who are probably thinking like, what the heck is that? It's essentially a glorified way of painting speech, like, and the focus that I ended up graduating with was interpersonal communications. So really understanding, how relationships rise and fall based off
Right.
of, the environments, right? Whether that be in a working environment or personal relationship or
Yeah.
family, right? I just love talking to people.
Right.
Um,
And you're good at it. You're very good at it. You have a
oh,
great stage presence, bro. You're a natural,
appreciate it.
and you mentioned to the teaching part. Like I've
Yeah,
seen you teach
yeah,
inside the warrior movement, which is I'm a part of as well.
yeah, yeah,
Just because of the community that you guys built,
yep,
and like the culture and everything, the culture of success, winning, the attitude, and all of that stuff, which is so amazing. That's one of the reasons why, I love the community that you were a part of building it. And yeah, I that's why I'm very excited to kind of hear more about it, and our audience who's watching and listening to
yep,
really hear more about your journey and your success story,
absolutely.
now as an entrepreneur. And I know, Sean, you're the type of person that once you hit a goal, there's always
Mm,
going to be a bigger goal after that. And I know you're building something big in the community that you're putting together. So
yeah.
let's definitely dive into that also. But so yeah, with that being said, how did you specifically get into in this industry and
Mm.
within Partnerco in the warrior movement?
Yeah. Great question, man. So kind of going off of my backstory here.
Yeah.
Um, right. I ended up actually diving into the career path of becoming an educator, a teacher, and
Yeah.
also a tennis coach for a while.
Yeah.
Tennis being, one of my first loves, passions.
Yes.
Um, and along the way, while I was very fortunate to get into careers with two very big passions of mine,
Yeah.
um, while I was loving the impact that I was creating with it, I did not like the lifestyle that was coming along with it.
I see it.
Um,
Yeah.
and it ended up starting to become more so about survival than it
Mm,
was about, the love of what I was doing. Cause
right.
obviously me not initially being from here, Hawaii, that is, I was like, okay, I was in a phase where I was trying to figure things out, like, as I mentioned, Jay, like not being from here, didn't really
Hmm.
have as many connections,
Right.
so I was really starting from scratch.
Right. Right.
Um, so I got into these careers, right? And along the way, like I said, just kind of eventually becoming aware of the toll that it started taking on me mentally and physically. I was
Yep.
working 6 to 7 days a week. I was
Right.
pushing, 60, 70 plus hours a week. I didn't have time for myself. And I was like, you know
Right.
what?
All right.
Yeah, I'm on the grind. Yeah, I'm making money and all that, but there was no way for me to look ahead. I was
Right.
just kind of like I felt stuck, right? And I was just like, man, if I thinking about things like if I'm going to bring in a future family, how am I going to
Hmm.
support them?
Right. Right.
Let alone, the kind of life that I really wanted to chase after. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be able to just not have to scratch my back every time like, I
Yeah.
wanted to, right? Just literally waking up every day and not feeling limited, not feeling
Right.
so restricted. So COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
And as for a lot of us, it was unexpected in so many ways because it came out so quick.
Hmm.
But I think for me, I'll just speak for myself.
Yeah.
It was a time period where I have always wanted time to just kind of take a step back.
Yep.
Um, I just didn't realize that it was going to be for that amount,
Yeah.
when it did happen.
Yeah.
But it was a
Yeah.
blessing in itself,
Yeah.
because it gave me time to actually, assess like where I was at and really think about what I wanted.
Hmm.
So, kind of fast forwarding, right? Got in contact with one of my really good friends back home, right? And we just literally had a deep heart to heart, conversation and was telling him that, I'm kind of in this place right now where I'm searching. I'm
Yeah.
looking, like I was very opportunistic at that time. And as you know, Jay, like especially being primarily in a lot of different ventures that are
Hmm.
utilized in the online space. I was looking, man. I was looking at all types of, online gurus and mentorship and all that. And connected with a good friend of mine, like I said, and we
Yep.
talked about a concept, right? We talked about a concept where we're like, you know what? He was really big into wellness and fitness, right? And he has a vast amount of experience, in the profession that we're in now,
Right.
right?
Right.
That is direct sales. And for me, I was like, okay, you know what? What was one aspect that I feel I can help bring to this concept, but something that really meant a lot to me that I struggled with, and
Right.
understanding like how much it helped me once I really started to focus on it more, right? And
Hmm.
that is, mindset, right? And personal development and knowing that I've had so many seasons in my life coming up to this point. I'm still not perfect, Jay. Like, I just want to put it out there, like, as I'm talking on
Nobody.
this, like,
Yeah. Nobody is. Yeah.
man, dude, like, I'm still on it. I'm still in pursuit. right, of just constantly bettering myself.
Of course.
Um, Talked about this concept, and we were like, okay, you know what? There's enough here to where let's just start putting things on paper.
Yeah.
Let's just shoot it out, right? And let's trial and error this.
Right.
So we ended up dabbling on the online space, right? We ended up creating a Facebook community page, and we did not know where this was gonna go, bro.
Yeah.
Like honestly, this was like, okay, main concept here. How can
Hmm.
we create a platform, a space where people from all walks of life, right? It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter, where you're currently at in life, whether you're already super successful or you're somebody that was like me, that
Yeah.
was still trying to find their way. But you can come here, and number one, you won't be judged. Number
Right.
two, you will feel empowered to be like, you know what? If I really want to make a shift or a change for my life, I can do it. Like I
Yeah.
can do it here, and I'll have support from like-minded individuals that also are in pursuit of the same thing.
Right.
Um, so fast forward, the warrior movement was born, right?
Yeah.
And that's the community that we ended up building. And 4 years later now, we are fast tracking ourselves to becoming one of the fastest growing
Mm.
organizations within our company,
Yeah.
right, in North America, which I know will eventually go global as well, because we're already starting to branch out like
Already. Yeah.
already, right? But
Hmm.
essentially, Jay, that's kind of the backstory on that, on how
Yeah.
it all started, how it
And
developed.
yeah, and so obviously now, I mean, I've seen personally what you
Mhm,
built
mhm.
in the community, and you're absolutely right. No judgment zone.
No.
Everybody's there. You guys are there to lead and support us and other entrepreneurs that are just barely tapping into this industry,
Yep.
and into this business model, which is
Mhm,
personally I'm a big proponent of. Um, and when I was getting into it initially, being part of the warrior movement that you helped create, I on one of my mentorship call with Grant Cardone, I had asked him that same question.
mm,
Like, I barely started learning about this industry and so on
yep,
and so forth. And do you think it's a great idea to
mm,
dabble into it? And
yep,
me as already as an entrepreneur successfully, again, it's not where I want to be yet.
right,
But that's the mindset that we have, because it's always going to be that next level. But
yep,
nonetheless, he said that if he was to start over again, if he had to build again, if he was just from the very beginning, he would get into the same industry as you are.
mm,
And I'm like, dude, if
wow,
a billionaire like Grant Cardone is saying this, um,
yeah.
why not? And I come to find out other big names like Ed Milet, um,
That's how he started.
yeah,
That's how he made his first millions.
right. I
It's
didn't know
crazy.
this before. And then I'm
Yep,
like, all right, Patrick Bet David,
yep,
same
same
thing. He got
thing.
started into it specific, not necessarily this inside warrior movement, but
Right,
the same niche industry type
right.
in a say. But
Hmm.
so I know that if somebody wants to just get started into entrepreneurship, dabble into specifically if it's health and wellness,
Yep.
dude, like you are the man that can help them grow that particular business. And
Yeah.
but for you,
Hmm.
like specifically, what is it about
Yeah.
this specific industry
Hmm.
that really pulled you into it? What were your
Absolutely.
specific reasons?
Absolutely. So, just to kind of put it out there, right? Let's address the elephant in the room, right? So the industry that Jay is referring to, like I'm in the network marketing industry. And
Hmm.
it's crazy, Jay, because I'll be honest with you, for the longest time, I used to be very skeptical about putting that out there.
Yeah.
And I think as entrepreneurs, right, like we've all experienced at some point some type of situation on, judgment and,
Of
people
course.
just kind of looking at you like, oh man, you're pursuing that thing,
Yeah.
oh, you're doing one of those, right? And this is what I've learned, because I actually got started in my very first entrepreneurial venture when I was 19 years old. Like i'm
Mm.
i'm 34 now,
Hmm.
right? And there was a little bit of a time gap where I kind of removed myself to pursue
Right.
teaching, right, and all that. But even back when I was 19, like this is an industry that has been around for a long, long time. Like for millennials,
Yes.
if you're watching this industry was literally like in full force during your parents' time and
Yeah.
their parents' time before that, right? But it has evolved so
Right.
much. It has
Right.
evolved so much. Like essentially now, I'll speak for what we're doing on this side, right? And respect to all companies out there. Okay.
Yeah.
there are concepts that we're integrating now from not just the direct selling aspect of things, which is essentially just sharing a product or a service, right,
Right.
directly to the consumer. That's all it
Right.
is. So it's a
That's it.
different
Yeah.
distribution model. It is
Right.
no different than anybody else walking into a traditional brick and mortar,
Right.
right, buying a product from that store, right,
Yes.
and supporting again, right, the whole infrastructure there, you
Right.
know. But I'm not trying to get into explaining the logistics of all of it.
Yeah.
Essentially going back to, what this is, Jay, for us now, I think why this industry, as you asked, why is this something even, somebody should even give a benefit of the doubt to look at?
Right.
I will tell you this much: for the average person that is looking to get into entrepreneurship, it is literally one of the most cost effective
Yes.
opportunities out there, meaning very little to no initial upfront, investment,
Yes.
right?
It's
It really
amazing.
it really boils down to someone's decision to be like, you know what? I want different, yes. But in order to have the different, you got to do the different at the same time too. Right.
Yes.
That's what I learned from my mentors. A very keen concept that not just people in this industry, but just entrepreneurship in all
In
levels,
general. Yeah.
right? It doesn't matter what you're in. You can be in real estate, which I have a
Right.
ton of friends that are in real estate, right? And that's the other thing. I'll just say it too. Like real estate, in a lot of ways, already has taken the model of network marketing, right?
Mm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And I know that there's different components to real estate as well too
Correct.
now. So I'm just going to respectfully approach that topic, but just to put it out there. But going back to what I was saying, literally it costs the average person very, very low
Mm.
amounts of investment, right?
Right.
For massive amounts of returns. If number one, you don't quit on yourself, right? It's
100%.
like anything, just don't quit, right?
100%. Yeah.
Hang into the game long enough, right? For you to actually see yourself develop. And that's the other thing is this industry is literally a comp plan that is just wrapped around your own personal development.
100%.
And to translate it real
100%.
quick, Jay, that just means the longer you continue to plug yourself into the
Mm-hmm.
systems that you're a part of and work on you first, right? Grow yourself, you're going to naturally win at this,
Right.
right? Because you're going to gain the skill sets, you're going to gain the understandings, you're going to gain all the different perspectives, right? To go out there and not necessarily, and this is what we're doing, right? We're not in the convincing business. I don't go
Right.
out there and I don't beg people to join my business,
Yep.
right? Like I don't hustle in that sense.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I feel like it's very off-putting. I think really it just boils down to number one, how do you connect with the person,
Mm.
right? Do they feel like they're being listened to, right?
Right.
So that you can actually understand what's going on in their life right now.
Mm.
And based off of how you're listening, you can really start to hear and understand, okay, you know what, this person's going through this.
Yep.
What is it at that point that you have on your side that you can share with this person to say, you know what, there's something over here that I have that I feel, and this could be just information, right? There's not
Yep.
necessarily product or service, right? We don't want to just straight up go into that.
Yeah.
But there's something that I have over here on this side that I would love to share with you that I feel can help impact your life based off
Yeah.
of what you're going through right now, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, all that in a box, Jay, it's just the average person's, I feel, best opportunity to get into entrepreneurship with very low investment costs in the beginning, but to develop into massive returns for yourself, and not just finances, but just overall, just personally.
Right.
It's one of the only models that I see that really enforce people working on themselves
Mm-hmm.
to get everything they want.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, man, having my own other businesses and
Yep.
being a part of the warrior movement,
Mm-hmm.
I could, I I could honestly say that you're absolutely um, true when you
Mm-hmm.
mention that, to get into this business model
Yeah.
is the most cost effective, very low entry point to start your own business
Yeah.
and be able to grow that,
Mm-hmm.
through the avenue that we present, that you present, and that you provide the training and the
Mm-hmm.
resources and everything else. And you can make, if it is to, let's say your goal is to change your lifestyle, make
Mm-hmm.
it better, grow financially so that way you can support a family or support your children's future and all that stuff. To be honest with you, like I said, if I was, again, not only hearing it from other people, like
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely, if I didn't have any other businesses, I would focus on this, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because it does take a little bit of time,
Sure.
but it's just any kind of business out there. It takes time to develop and grow.
Hmm.
And really, if there's a system that works, as long as you follow it, and which you provide, right? I know you provide
Yep.
it. You take the time to train them and support them, that business grows. Like,
Yep.
it will grow. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just
No.
have to spend the time of learning a skill set,
Hmm.
learning the brand, the business, and the model, and really that's it. You go out there and share it to people,
Hmm.
help others,
Yeah.
with their health, their wealth, and even with their relationships.
Hmm.
Um, ultimately, which is the top three things that human beings care about. You
Hmm.
have that in what you provide in your business model, in your business in particular, Sean. And I strongly believe that if I was to put my time into it, I've seen it 100% by
Yeah.
so many people. You can build wealth, and like yourself, you're successful, and a few other people that I mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, and even like in a smaller scale, like other, 7-figure earners in network marketing,
Yep.
people are afraid. I remember when I was learning just about it. I know, speaking to Jay and
Hmm.
saying about, he's already up there in that
Yep.
in the industry, but I remember, people are not, didn't really, because of the stigma of network marketing. A lot of
Yep.
people are like, "Oh, why are you doing that?" and so on and so forth. So people, we don't really express it immediately, but to be honest with you, learning and knowing about it as a business coach and advisor, I'm
Yep.
a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
If people are wants to get started, who's aspiring
Hmm.
to learn about entrepreneurship, this is the best route to do. Don't do what I did. Although
Yeah.
I became successful, I invested a lot of money. For example, in my first
Yeah.
recruiting agency, the business coach that I paid for, was
Hmm.
$10,000, and getting my own website developed,
Yep.
my branding and everything else.
Hmm.
Ultimately, in those span, not knowing if it's gonna work or not, right?
Right.
I spent initially just $50,000 worth of stuff, platform softwares, and everything else. But I will tell you, in your business,
Hmm.
Sean,
Yeah.
if I was brand new, was aspiring to be an entrepreneur, I can, like, let's say listen to you,
Hmm.
to the what you offer, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and I actually follow suit. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be spending more than like $3,000 to just get started. And
Right.
if as long as if I apply everything that you teach, the concept, the machine per se,
Yep.
dude, I can start generating revenue immediately.
Yeah.
When I say immediately, probably in the next, 2 to 3 months, I could see growth already within the first weeks
Yep.
of applying what you teach in the
Yep.
business. I've seen it. I've
Absolutely.
personally seen it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
I'm such a big proponent. And
Absolutely.
then going into you're actually the one who invited me to attend Eric Warren's live event, where the top
Yes,
network
sir.
marketers in the world actually attend once a year. I'm
Yes,
like, you
sir.
know what? I'm not. I'm very curious. I ended up joining. It pays to partake in that kind of experiences, but boy, dude, it opened up my mind. It being with a lot of high income earners in
Hmm.
the business,
Hmm.
and then, you guys, obviously you personally, like, that's why I'm like, dude, for people who's watching and listening on this and want to
Yeah.
get into dive into this, Sean
Yeah.
Nakamoto is the guy that you need to listen to. This guy will keep it real. He'll tell you how it is, and
Yeah.
he's a great leader. He's a great coach,
Thank
and
you.
people. I think whoever ends up, joining
Yeah.
the community
Hmm.
will benefit drastically from it. And I know you're out
Absolutely.
here day to day changing lives, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate the love and I appreciate the shout out, Jay. And, I think I just want to add to real quick.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
When it comes to as we're talking about this particular space, first of all, I respect all entrepreneurs. I
Right.
respect everybody that's in the game, right? So I don't want to sit here and make it sound like the industry that I'm in, network marketing for that matter, is like the go-to. Like, if you don't do this, like, nah, you're not going to make it. Like, Jay, you're a testament, man. Like, for
Hmm.
example, like, you've gone out there and you have built up a multiple seven-figure business, like, from the ground up,
From the
right,
ground up,
in a
yeah.
completely different model.
Right.
Um so I think the main concept that I'd like to highlight for the people that are watching this is, if you are somebody that is, kind of in this space of like, you know what, entrepreneurship, like, what is that? Like,
Yeah,
I've heard a lot about it. Yeah, it sounds really sexy. Like, I know
it
for
is.
myself, right? It's just like, man, what do you do? I'm an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, and people are gonna be like, whoa, what?
yeah.
Like, what is that? What
Right,
what exactly do you do? Right?
right,
Um,
right.
I'll just say this: entrepreneurship, network marketing, for example, in this particular topic, for me, has
Yeah,
opened up myself with no business background at all. Like, literally, I had none, Jay. Like, and
yeah.
I didn't have capital up front, like to make any type of big investments when I first got started. I
Right.
literally was like juggling between credit cards, trying to figure out, okay, how can I put together like just enough for me to invest,
Yeah.
into trying out some of the product, which essentially all it is that, Jay. Like,
Well,
the
yeah.
upfront cost, the fee, which is a one-time fee, right? And all
Hmm.
the now I know some companies might be a little different, but I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
It was just so small to me, right? Because I
It
made
is.
purchases
Yeah.
like that daily.
Normally,
Like,
yeah.
I would online shop, I
Right.
go buy this and this and this, right? But it's like, I'll paint it to you this way. How many of us are out there and we recommend like a movie, or we recommend places to go eat, right? Things to go try.
All the time.
And
Yeah.
your friends go and they like, dude, Jay, thanks a lot for like hooking
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
up, man.
Yeah.
That recommendation was bomb.
Right.
Do you get paid for that though? Does the restaurant pay you for
Right.
that? Right.
Exactly.
And it's not to say that we're trying to talk everything about money here, but if you are in the entrepreneur space or wanting to tap into that, I just want you to think about a perspective here.
Right.
Right. And that's all that network marketing, for example,
It
truly
is. Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Um, and the great part about all this is that, you get to Zig Ziglar, one of the greatest
Yes.
personal development coaches to ever live, one of the goats.
Yes.
My personal mentor that I've taken upon, for the last decade plus.
Yeah.
Uh, he said this, right? And that is, in order if you help, okay, others get what they want, as a byproduct, you will naturally have everything that you want. So just
Mm.
help enough people go out there and solve problems, solve solutions, right? To help make their lives progress and, just be better. And in turn, you're going to be able to have everything that you want in your life.
Right.
And, when I first heard that, I thought, well, what does that mean? Because I didn't have the vehicle yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But when you find it, right now, I'm not gonna say like, Jay, I know, I like, honestly, I know you're pumping me up, and I love you for it, right? But I
Yeah.
just want to also say it could be anything. It could be what I got over here with the things that I built with my organization. It also could be something that you find elsewhere. Whatever
Yeah.
that it is for you, as long as it resonates with you and it makes sense, and you feel like, you know what, I can see myself creating an impact here,
Mm.
then run full force with it,
Yeah.
right? Like, and one of the greatest things that I love about this particular profession is that over time you stick with it, you don't quit.
Right.
You're going to be able to build up alongside with you, right? when
Yep.
you when you have others join you in building this out, you're going to
Hmm.
have leveraged effort from others
Yeah.
too, where
Yeah.
eventually you won't have to feel like maybe a traditional entrepreneur that's trying to start a solopreneur, I'll say,
Yeah. Yeah.
to go 100% and all in every single day, because after a while that could lead a toll onto you as well. But what
Right.
if there was a smarter way? What if there was another way for that particular person to go out there and amass and create, a major impact, major
Right.
successes, right? And huge financial gains.
Yeah.
So that's what I love so much about what we've built here, and obviously aspects now that you've seen personally.
Right.
And I love that about Jay, man. Like, I love that about you, bro, is that you always have that curiosity. Ever since I met you, like, that's one of the first things that gravitated me towards you too, was like, damn, this guy is just massively curious,
Oh
and I
yeah.
love open-minded people like that, because you then kind of project yourself when you're in crowds, and that's why you're so good at networking and, just what you do. Um,
Mhm.
you kind of
Thank you.
attract certain, yeah, certain standards to you as well.
Right.
So I would just say, for those that are watching this too, like, if you're not already in business with Jay, man, stay with this guy, because even just knowing you, bro, like, there's a lot of things that I took note on as well that I've applied, in terms of how you just connect with people, and
Yeah.
especially in our profession, like, that's essentially what we do. Like, that's
Right.
what it is. We're a
Right.
people building business. Like, it's all based around relationships and connections.
And you're
So
right. Every business starts with a conversation, and
yeah.
and that's with any business. And
No
that's one
doubt.
of the big things that I, first of all, thank you for the kind words as well. I appreciate that,
No.
Sean. And that's one of the things I love about you. Before I talk about this other thing,
Yeah.
is the fact that you are very humble, bro. You
Mm,
keep it real. You stay authentic, and it's really genuine that you really want to help others. It's not just to make money and all that stuff. That's
yeah.
just a, I guess, an icing on the cake into the business, but you truly are genuine to wanting to help others succeed. And I know that
Mm,
about you. And I think maybe that's part of you, like you wanting to be a teacher, right? Like
mm.
be of service, right,
Yeah.
to others, and seeing them see growth and success. And really all you're doing is transferring that into the business world, which what you're doing is
Yeah.
pretty amazing. But kind of going back to what you stated, like,
Yeah.
um, in network marketing, I think that's why I'm such a big believer of it, because not
Mhm.
one, I wanted to learn, like
Mhm.
truly learn about it and
Yeah.
understand it. And that then, my goal was like, all right, to really identify whether this really works or not. And
Mhm.
once I actually like did spend the
Mhm.
time and learning and educating myself and learning from you guys, you as
Yeah.
well specifically, uh, I I know this business, this model, this industry is truly the way to go, because of
Mm.
the fact of the matter is it's a business in a box, essentially,
Yeah.
guys. It's a business in a box. You get on without having to spend a lot of money out of your own pocket right off the bat. It's
Mhm.
so simple. A caveman can do it, or in our sense, grandmas are being successful, grandpas are being successful, who doesn't know
Seriously.
how to use social media, the
Right.
machine itself, what you guys teach, the system, the methodology, it all works. And then
Yeah.
as long as you obviously don't quit, you're gonna be successful.
Absolutely.
So why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not get into it? And that's why, I think if the people, especially right now, the economy is
Mhm.
shifting. If you guys are
Yeah.
not seeing it yet, we're seeing it on our end, in my other businesses, in our other client base.
Mhm.
um like the shift in the market and the economy is happening, and whoever's going to be our president in November is going to make another shift.
Yep.
But I think because of the economy, and we're possibly seeing a recession, this
Mm.
is the best time to
Yeah.
build and,
Yeah.
and get into something like this. So
Yes.
I think it's faith that if you're listening on Spotify, on
Mhm.
Apple, or you're watching this episode on YouTube,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I've been really thinking about getting into this, or I've been thinking
Mm.
about learning more about network marketing,
Yeah.
dude, ladies, it my boy Sean is the man to do it. You could see,
Oh,
if you've
man.
been watching us from the very beginning, how
Yeah.
authentic he is. He's there to help you succeed, and really, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Other than the money factor that comes with it,
Yeah.
just building this community and connecting with amazing people.
Mhm.
You just heighten everything else in your life.
Absolutely.
So it's so beautiful, man. And I'm glad,
Yeah.
this is a long time coming.
Oh, for sure.
Um, getting this on the episode, on,
I
getting
know,
you
man.
recorded, bro. But I know you're
Woo.
busy and you're
Nah, easy,
building.
bro.
You're always building, and I love the community that you're putting together. And I
Thanks,
think,
man.
I'm having that FOMO in a sense, because
Mm.
I'm a business coach. I run my recruiting agency and my virtual
Yep.
assistant, and I have a couple of things in the
Absolutely.
back. But it, like, I kind of feeling FOMO, like, dang,
Oh,
like,
man. What I do
the
best.
dude, I'm seeing the success of so many people that you've helped
Yeah.
out in a short amount of time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. But we all have seasons. I heard that from
Absolutely.
you. and
Absolutely.
uh and but just seeing the growth in the short amount of time
Yeah.
that you guys are building there,
Yeah.
dude. If there's people that still feel like, oh, I need to hop onto something, this is it,
Yeah.
guys. This is no paid advertising. I'm not getting paid by Sean.
No,
um
not at all.
I just strongly believe that this is a great avenue. This is a
Yeah.
great vehicle to get into. Like I mentioned earlier, just three things that human beings care about:
Mhm. Mm.
health, wealth, and relationship. And the
Mm.
the business model that Sean has, the product
Mhm.
that they have,
Mhm.
globally, you can
Yeah.
build and attain all those three if you
Yeah.
just commit. And
Right.
sometimes people take have a hard time of, like, getting into something because it takes time, and it's not a magic pill that once you
No.
commit to signing up or whatnot, the success starts there. You just have to
Hmm.
follow on the teachings and ways to improve and how you can develop your business. But as long as you take the notes, you take the time, you put into work, it's gonna work. I've seen
Yeah.
it personally, guys.
Yep.
Specifically in Sean's world, in his community.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of you. I love you, bro, and
Hey,
I'm
man.
very happy
Appreciate
that
it.
you're here with
Appreciate it.
me.
Absolutely,
But
man.
another
Absolutely.
question. I know you have to go. You have another
No, no,
meeting
we're
coming
good, bro.
up, but
We're good.
um, in regards to what you're trying to build, I know you said you want to attract the right people, which is
Hmm.
should be who you're attracting. But like
Yeah.
for our listeners, our audience, our watchers,
Yeah.
like who do you want to serve specifically, and who do you want to be part of your team? Because
Oh,
I know
man.
you don't take just everybody. So who
No.
is it that you want to be part of your team?
That's man. I'm glad you asked, Jay. And this is gonna kind of tie into a couple of things here. And
Yeah,
first off, just kind of wanting to backstep just a little bit
yeah,
before
yeah.
before I answer your question. When it comes to everything that Jay just mentioned, and big shout outs and everything to you, man, for just being you.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
there's a lot of things that I know Jay and I are going to get into together, and this is stemming beyond what we have, because Jay is partnered with us as well too.
Yes,
But as he mentioned, he's bro, you're focused on your business, of course, and scaling things to next levels. But that's the one thing that I love too about being in this particular profession, is that you
yeah,
get connected with so many
yes,
amazing individuals. And when you talk about attracting, right, like people that I want to be around, to build with, like that's how Jay and I connected.
right.
Like you get plugged into certain communities, you get connected to certain people, and when you approach it too with an open mind, you can really just embrace and take in different perspectives. And right off the bat, Jay, like, I've told you this plenty of times, like,
Yeah,
man, like energy, everything that you just exude from yourself is like infectious. And it's
right,
not
right.
trying to butter you up or anything
Oh,
just because
thank
we're
you,
on your
bro.
pod, man. It's like, no, this is real. Like, if you know me, like, I don't shoot out praise to people unless I absolutely mean it.
Yeah,
And that's one thing too that I love about business in general,
right.
right? Especially with our platform and things that we do here, is you also get to have the privilege of being selective on who you want to work with. So
Yes,
when it comes to, when you ask me, Jay, like, who is it that I'm trying to work with now? Like what is the criteria? What's the standard? And honestly, for me, first off, I'm open to all, right? However, you need to show me a couple of things as well too, because in order for
yeah,
this dynamic to work, in order for me to help coach anybody for that matter,
right.
you need to bring three things, right?
And
And
what's
that's
that?
something that our mentor, Jay mentioned earlier how we went to an event, last year with the goat of our industry, Eric Worre. He mentions these three concepts, right? And this literally was beaten into me mentally, since I got myself back into this whole aspect of entrepreneurship in this profession.
Take
And
notes,
he talks
guys.
about,
Yeah,
man,
take notes right
it's
now. Here
very
you go.
simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. Number one is, are you willing? Are you willing? Meaning, are you willing to, are you willing to adapt
Mm,
a different perspective, a
that's
different
right.
philosophy, a certain system that you were mentioning earlier, Jay, right? Because in order for us to help you, if you're watching this, if you're somebody right now that might be putting yourself in this particular shoe of, okay, yes, I've been looking for someone or
Right.
something to build into, you got to be willing. Okay, that's the
Mm,
first thing. The second thing is, you got to be hungry, right? You
mm,
got to be hungry in terms of, look, you got to want this, meaning you got to want to see yourself go through change,
yes.
right? You're going to have to shift out of a couple of old things that you were holding on to in the past, whether that's a limiting belief that you may have, and we all have those in some way, shape, or form, right? You got to be able to be hungry enough to constantly want to put yourself in that mold,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Jay said it earlier, like, you just can't give up on yourself. Don't quit. Okay. The last aspect, and this is probably the most important that I value out of the three, is you got to be coachable. You got to
Mm,
be coachable. And I know for me, I had issues with this in the very beginning because I had a high ego. I'm not gonna lie. I had a high ego for the longest time, even before I got into business. That
Yeah.
is the one thing that will kill you so fast in
Yes.
anything that you're looking to pursue,
Mm.
right? Because obviously, as people that are watching, especially if you're in the business world, I'm sure you can probably put this together. But
No.
I know
Yeah.
this is something that Jay prizes himself on as well too, is mentorship, right?
Right.
There's no cheat codes in life, Jay.
None.
But what I will say is, in order for people to gain massive success quickly, right, or a lot faster than they might think, if you want to go fast, link yourself to people that are actually in the field doing what it is that you're looking to accomplish, right? And
Amen.
it's not necessarily just the business aspect of things, but look at their lifestyle. How are they connecting? How are they building relationships? How are they going out there? Like, what does
Right.
their day-to-day look like? Are they a person, right? You're not gonna, I'm not trying to say you're trying to copy this person per se and exactly who they are and you're trying to become them. No, I'm not trying to become a Jay. Jay's not trying to become me, right? But it's like, you know what? You look to someone and go, damn, that person's inspiring. Like, oh my gosh, like, if I can just live a fraction of that person's life in terms of how he has manifested his relationships and, how fulfilled he feels and looks like, then I'm all with it, right? But going back to it, Jay, it's, yeah, are you willing? Are you hungry? And are you coachable? If
I
you
love
have
that.
those three components, I'll work with you.
There you
I'll work
go.
with you because it's a two-way street as well too.
It
It's not
is.
just me telling you what to do. This is not a babysitting thing. This is not a job, right?
Yes.
However, on the note though, I will say you do kind of have to adapt the job mentality in the beginning
Yeah.
in a sense of plug into systems, right? That obviously we have that we've tried and true, right? That's the one thing that I love that I can confidently say to people is that all the things that I help coach and teach that
Mm.
I receive coaching on as well too, it's from people that literally have gone out into the field, tested it themselves, and
Yes.
we are only giving the absolute best on what's working and training to our partners. Like
Mm.
I'm not going to go out there and just tell someone, you know what, I think you should do this based off of theory,
Yeah.
right? Like, because we want people to actually win. So
Right.
that's what I would say, Jay. Like, honestly, like it
Mm.
just boils down to those three things. You got those three things. Hey, I will stick with you. I will help you. I can assure you that I'm not going to fail on you as long as you don't quit on yourself. That's what I always tell people.
Boom.
And
Dude, I
that's
love
why we
that.
breed winners, man. Like, that's
That's
why the
right.
people that are winning are winning, you
That's
know?
right. And you know what's funny is that I say the same thing. I choose who I want to work with as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
actually, those are the three things that I look for
Mm-hmm.
as well. I just don't work with any entrepreneurs
Yeah.
with their businesses. I just want to make sure that you're the right fit for
Mm-hmm.
me and I'm the right fit
Absolutely.
for you. And that is the three categories that I look for too. You got to be willing, you got to be hungry, and you got to be coachable. If you are
100%.
those three and you don't quit and you want to be successful, you will be successful. And we're going to do this together. And I
100%.
love that you have that same mindset and mentality in how and what you teach and what you look for in others as well. So it's
Yeah.
a great formula, to be honest. And it's
Man.
not we didn't make this up, right? It's
No.
from people that are super high level
Yeah.
that we're learning from,
Absolutely.
and we're just applying it into our own in our business journeys and all that stuff. But yeah,
100%, man.
but
Um,
yeah, super
if I
cool.
can
Yeah,
also add to that real quick
of
too, Jay.
course.
Um, one thing I'll say is that you're not going to be able to help everybody,
Right,
nor is everyone going to be ready for themselves. Like I mentioned earlier, right? Everybody has seasons in life.
right.
I can't tell you how many times I've partnered with somebody's officially like partnered with us, signed on with us, and they're gung-ho, they're excited, they're like, yeah, I got big goals, big aspirations, I want to make millions and all these things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, but then all of a sudden they just phase out,
Mm-hmm.
right? They
Mm-hmm.
ghost you, right? They just go blank. And what I would say to that, because I'm someone who's personally gone through phases like that, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
transparent and honest, like
Yeah.
I I don't know how many times I've come into like business type opportunities and I'm like, look, I'm gonna blow things up. I'm gonna hit a 7-figure revenue, like talk crazy like this and have like, big aspirations right off the gun. And then all of a sudden, like I just go dark,
Mm.
like things happen, right?
Yeah.
what I would say to that too, because I know that for people that are looking to get into entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter what it is, by the way. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need to be network
Facts.
marketing. It doesn't need to be real estate investing or whatever. It could be anything, right? Is get very comfortable with the concept of rejection. Get
Mm.
very comfortable with the concept of failing, right?
Mm.
And when I say this, going back to people going through seasons, right? Because people might hear
Right.
this and they might go like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's this. It is when you're out there, business essentially is a numbers game, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
never going to know who you're going to be able to develop relationships with that are going
Right.
to help open up doors,
Right.
right? For your brand, for everything that you're looking to build out, right? Um, so I would say this: fail faster,
Mm.
fail harder,
Mm.
because that's how you truly learn. And I know a lot of
Yes.
people that might be hearing this right now, you might be thinking, well, yeah, like that seems like common sense, rocket science, right? But see, that's also at the same time what I've noticed why a lot of people still are not getting it,
Right.
because you're worried about judgment, you're worried
Right.
about looking like a failure to other people, particularly people
Right.
that are directly around you. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
if your circles are making you feel like that, you got to find new circles, first of all.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to have to let go of friends, family, right? You're going to have to distance yourself from them, not cut them out of your life. But I just wanted to add that, Jay, because
Yeah.
again, it's something that I struggle really hard with. If I'm being out there, like I said, I want to be fully transparent on this pod. I want to let people
No,
know when they
I
listen to
love
this,
that.
like, this is not a picture perfect story of, yeah, I'm not one of these like online gurus that, have made it and are living in penthouses and all that kind of stuff. Like, no, no, no. I like to keep things real. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have aspirations. I do have personal goals, of course, too, because we all enter business for ourselves
Correct.
initially, right? There's reasons why we initially go into opportunities and things like this. Um, but, I just felt like to touch upon that is important because I know it's an aspect that not just myself, but a lot of people, whether you're already in entrepreneurship right now, if you're watching this pod, or if you're going to, just
Yeah.
embrace this concept. And I will tell you this: your journey, your process is going to unfold a lot more. I don't want to say faster because everyone has different speeds,
Right.
but it's going to resonate and connect with you in a way that's going to allow you to develop more foundationally, where you're
Mm.
going to be able to last in the long term, a lot more just solid, to the
Yeah.
point where you really start amassing breakthroughs a lot faster than you might initially think,
Yeah.
you know?
Dude, you are just a wealth of knowledge, man. Plethora of
Oh,
experience in your field. I just love how authentic you are. You keep it real, and I love that
thanks,
about you,
bro.
man. You're always not just promoting yourself. And to be honest, you never really promote yourself in the times that we spent together, man. It's always about others, you know. That's
Yeah.
why I really want to emphasize about you today, Sean. This, like, to have
Appreciate
you
it, man.
on here because truly, if I am looking for a mentor, if I'm
Mhm,
looking for a coach, for one, I want somebody who's already done it, has been there,
mhm,
went through the trials and tribulations,
mhm.
and has seen success already,
Yeah.
um, and somebody who's real and authentic and be transparent.
Mhm.
That's who I look for
Yeah,
in a
man.
coach, in a mentor. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you have a private jet or not,
Oh.
but if you're already in that in where I want to go to, like
Mhm.
that, those are the things I look for. So I'm pretty sure this episode, hopefully it reaches the right people, because if you are somebody who's aspiring to just want to change your life for the better, personally, professionally, and financially,
Yeah.
Sean, you are one of the best coach I've known,
Man, I
and
appreciate that,
the
man.
fact that you truly care about the people, your team members, in
Yeah.
their success, it says a lot about you, man. So thank you again for being here. I wish we could do a lot more. I'm sure in the future
More to
we're
come,
gonna
bro.
more
More to
to come to
come.
collaborate. But for the
This is
sake
part
of
one.
this podcast episode, we'll have to end it here,
For sure.
because I know you got other things that you have to
Oh, yeah,
pursue, and,
bro.
in your schedule today. It's a Friday, but for us entrepreneurs, Fridays are Mondays. So
Exactly.
you know what it means. But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I finally got a chance to hook you and get you here today, bro. So I appreciate it. It's
Yeah, bro.
always a pleasure to have you, being in your presence, being around you, man. And always wish you the best. I'm in your back corner if you ever need anything. And for our
Absolutely, bro.
viewers,
Yeah.
and our listeners, Sean, one last thing before we let go.
Yeah.
One advice to people that's watching and listening this episode right now, who is an entrepreneur that's maybe struggling, or just somebody who's been wanting to dabble into entrepreneurship and maybe even specifically in network marketing.
Hmm.
Look at them and talk to them, and let them hear some good advice from you before we let go.
Man, this is what I would say, Jay. To that particular person who's watching this right now, I would say this: if you're in a particular season with yourself, um, and I'm also speaking to myself too at the same time, taking this
Yeah.
opportunity to do so. It's have a real conversation with yourself, right?
Mm,
Pause first, right? Cut out the noise, right? Rome wasn't built over a single night, so you can afford to pause things and ask yourself, why did you start?
mm,
Right? Why did you start? Um, and I think it's important, Jay, for people to recenter themselves and think back. That's why, and I know you've heard this plenty of times. Is what's your why?
mm-hmm.
Right? That's another question that we ask heavily, particularly,
Yes.
especially with our builds and when I
Yeah.
coach. It's part of our system. We ask people
Yes.
initially, right off the bat, before we partner, what do you want to do this for? Right?
Right.
What's the reason?
Mm,
Um, and I would say to this is when you understand and remember why you've started, why you're choosing to go against the grain, why you're choosing to pursue entrepreneurship for that matter, where it's so different, from
mm-hmm.
what we grew up with, right?
Right.
Um, you're going to be able to center yourself. You're going to be able to remember, okay, this is why I had to start this because I wanted to move myself away from previous versions of myself that I didn't like,
Yeah.
right? Because I feel like at the end of the day, that's initially why a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs specifically, that's why they start because they're
Right.
looking for something better. Yeah, everybody talks about the money. We talk about, all the flash and all these things. And sure, hey, if that's you, nothing wrong with that,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
There's aspects of it that hey, if I'm being honest, like I'm chasing that as well too. I want, I,
Yeah.
I want
Why
better, not
not?
just for me,
Why not?
but for
Yeah.
everybody around me, right? Family, my close friends, everybody, my inner circle.
Yeah.
But I would say that, Jay, is have a real conversation with yourself. Take a pause, cut out the noise, and just ask yourself, what's the why? Why am I
Mm,
here? Why am I doing this? Right? Because then you're going to be able to start centering in concepts of, well, this is why I'm going through what I'm going through. This is why I got to keep going. This is
yeah.
why I have to keep working on myself, right? So that I can go out there and serve on a much better scale, right? I can really go out there and really help others truly impact their lives, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people say that, but I think that's a difference, Jay. And, really on a humbling note, that's what I learned as well too. Like, yeah, I used to initially think the money was everything, right? Chase this,
Mm-hmm.
chase that, and I need to portray myself as like a hustler, in
Right.
that sense. Like the hustle culture was so I took it in a way that was detrimental.
Mm,
Because I focused on everything else but the one most important aspect I've learned in
yeah.
business, and that is the person. You
Mm,
do that, and I'm telling you, you're going to be able to not only recenter yourself and bring yourself back on track, but you're also going to be able to expand where you're currently at to levels that are going to be able to reach things on a much wider and, well, if I'll say it, global, on a global scale too. Like, don't limit yourself, right?
mm.
So
Wow.
I guess I'll just toss it with that. And I know you said this too, Jay. This will be my last note too on promoting myself. That's what I'm learning about Jay. Jay, man, you are Mr. Omnipresence. And to be honest, I gotta do that more.
Right.
So if you're somebody that wants to connect, if you want to gain some perspectives that I may have shared with Jay on this pod today, you can find me on the socials too. You can hit me up on Instagram. You can hit me up on Facebook. Yeah, shoot me a DM, and I'd love to connect.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna link your social media, specifically Instagram and Facebook. But Sean, thank you for um, being on the show. Thank you for allowing us to listen and hear from you, man. You have so many great things to teach, to share, and I hope that our viewers, our listeners, can really gravitate towards your messages, and I know you can help others as well, and I know you will continue to do that on a bigger scale soon. And
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to having you in a second episode where
Done.
in a year. Give us about
Absolutely.
12 months to see where it's at.
Absolutely.
I've already seen a short amount of time from from how we got started to where it is
Mhm.
now, and I'm just more excited to see more growth in another 12 months. So
Absolutely, bro.
yeah, so for our viewers, listeners, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. I hope you got some great pointers and tips, advices from Sean today, which he presented a lot, guys. I hope you did take note. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you at the next episode of Real Talks Podcast. Take care.